How to not be like your abuser. Can you truly break the cycle and not be like your abuser? Well, it is very normal to be afraid of being like your abuser because if you've been abused when you're much younger, you will develop some traits of that abuser and you will often pass those along to other people. And this is because you have unresolved issues deep within you regarding the abuser. They have done bad things to you. You've not been able to resolve them. You've not been able to communicate about the problems. And you have absorbed a lot of their ways of handling you, the way that they treated you, the way that they abused you. You have incorporated those into your own life and the way that you are and how you behave and interact with other people. So to some extent, you will be like them. No amount of working through the problem and therapy that you go through, that can help immensely. But there could be a few traits here and there that is very much like the abuser, and that is a major problem. And maybe you recognize them and you don't want them in your life anymore. You don't want those traits to be negatively impacting your life anymore. Well, the unfortunate truth is trauma does permanently change who you are. It is the unfortunate fact of growing up in an abusive household, in an abusive environment. It changes you in ways that most other people who have not been through that sort of trauma can ever truly understand. They may view you as someone who is perhaps weird or crazy or just even manipulative in some sort of way, but it's as a result of your upbringing. That's not to say that you should just be passing it off and blaming it on things that happened in the past, things that happened when you were a kid. Instead, you have to learn to deal with the problems, and it's going to be very, very challenging for you. For most people who have never been through this, it's not going to be a problem for them. But for you, in particular, you have a very hard journey ahead of you. So recognizing that is one of the first steps at actually realizing you have a lot of work to do in order to actually be considered, I guess, if you want to use the term normal, or at least be able to deal with the problems a bit more better than you have been dealing with them. So what I have found to be a very, very good thing, and perhaps they can really greatly help you as well. Learning to be kind to other people. Learning to be very forgiving, but not too forgiving to the point where you allow other people to walk all over you. To recognize where your anger and frustration is, those sort of traits in other people and people who have done you wrong, being able to forgive those things. This is a very hard thing because if I ask the question to you, are you able to forgive the people who have abused you in the past or who are currently very negatively manipulating and abusing you? Sure, if it's someone present right now, you may not be able to forgive them. But if it's something that happened long ago, perhaps you've been able to realize, maybe I can finally forgive that. If you've gotten to that point where you can finally forgive people who have abused you in the past, then really you should be congratulating yourself because that is a huge accomplishment that you've just been able to do. That you're able to overcome the problems that the other person has caused you, that you've resolved them to a degree that you can forgive them. That's incredibly emotional. It's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly challenging. I have been through that process myself. Let me tell you this, it makes a huge difference. It really does. It makes a massive difference with your ability to deal with the situation, to not be like this person who is abusing you. Because when you think about your abuser and you have hatred and anger towards them about the things that they've done to you, then how are you any better than them? Maybe you start to realize, you're allowing them to control you so much in ways that they should not be able to control you anymore, especially if it's been many years and you're away from the situation. But if you're able to forgive them, if you're able to just let it go, that is a huge, huge step that you can make to be a better person yourself. And then you can take another step and be kind to other people. If there's someone else that you know who gets on your nerves, is kind of angry, makes you angry rather, then be kind to that person, because why feel all this anger and hatred towards them to the point where you feel as though you're just going out of control and you're going to say something hurtful to them or do something bad to them in response. So just calm it down for a moment, take a breather, and just learn to be kind and let go of what your abuser has done to you, and forgive them and forgive the other people who have manipulated you. It's not an easy thing, I understand that. Not many people can actually do that, but when you get to a point where you've resolved a lot of the conflict, then it becomes a lot easier. It really does. Another thing you can kind of think about also is just being able to be grateful. Being grateful for the things that you have in your life, for the people that you have in your life. And for me personally, can I be grateful for the abuse that I went through? I kind of can, because it helped shape me into a different person that I would not have been able to be the strong person I am today if it wasn't for those situations in the past. So I learned some things from that. I learned to be a better person because I was presented with an example of someone that I do not want to be. And after all of that, after all the problems that I developed as a result that I still struggle with pretty much every day, that I can never really fully get rid of, I realize, I don't want to be like that person. So I'm going to change a lot of myself and be grateful and kind and caring. So I don't have to be like them. Another thing you can consider and think about is also something called helpful manipulation. So what does this mean exactly? Well, manipulation, when it came from your abuser, it may have been very toxic. It may have been very, very bad, where they are controlling you in ways that they want you, like gaslighting you, blaming you for things that you never did, manipulating your emotions in a very negative way. Well, if you were raised by a narcissist, raised in that environment, you have developed some of those traits, and you may find yourself manipulating other people. So instead of doing that manipulation for your own benefit, to control someone else, to make you feel better about who you are, learn to use that manipulation for something much more positive and helpful. So how can you do that? Well, instead of looking at it always as, what can I gain out of this situation? Look at it as, what can I do? What can I say to the other person so that they realize some things about their own life that they can change, that they can better, that they can become a much more productive and successful person within their own life? What are some things you can do and say to that person that is perhaps manipulative in nature, using some of your manipulative tactics that you have to get them on a better track in life to be a better person? That's something to really consider. Or if you are someone who is very knowledgeable in a certain field, and you want to share that information with other people, maybe using some sort of helpful manipulation to get you seen, get you recognized, to get you into a more position of power so that you can help other people. So you have to look at the positive traits of something negative if you really want to view it as a much more positive trait than as a negative one. And I guess really the last thing is, don't be afraid of your abuser. Don't be afraid of the people who are manipulating you, and finally break the cycle. Break the cycle that they want you trapped in, that they have done something bad to you because their parents or someone else has done something bad to them. And they're passing it along to you because they want you to be the same way they are and do the same thing to your own kids or to other people and just manipulate them and all that sort of stuff. Don't be like them. Break that cycle, and you will find that Life is so much better when you're able to be your own independent person and when you let go of all of the things that they're trying to make you be. So don't be afraid of them and break that cycle. So I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are on this topic. Please feel free to share them, especially if you have been like your abuser. How can you finally stop? I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are. So you all take care, have a great one, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.